This is the Planet Reigate podcast.
And this is Peter Stewart. Hello, Planeteers. The show exclusively, uniquely and proudly about Reigate, Redhill and Merstham and Buckland and Betchworth and Brockham and Earlswood and Cholwood and Outwood. And I don't know whether I can progress those rhymes and alliterations any further. But anyway, welcome to today's show, episode 31, Saturday the 13th of April. We have the launch of the Reigate Summer Festival. Alice in Wonderland comes to Reigate. And a new café opens in Priory Park. Please subscribe so you don't miss a show. Yeah, this week, this is how we're reflecting and celebrating our love of life around here. There are huge arts events in other local towns, aren't there? Guildford has its book festival, Dorking's got its music festival. Now news that Reigate is to get its very own this summer. The man behind it is my guest later on. Hear from the woman who runs the newly opened cafe in Priory Park about her delight at moving in from the kiosk outside and her plans for the future. And a bit of history is on display locally. The original engravings from Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. I've been to see the exhibition, spoken to the man behind it all, and hear the story about how they were discovered. So if you're a fan of Alice and the March Hare and so on, make sure you stay tuned, all the details on the way. In the Good Time Guide, details of who is going to be selling what at the Sustainability Market in Reigate this weekend. We also talk about forest bathing and sound healing, a band at a local church hall, there's a litter pick in Reigate, live music at the Hatch, there's a garden structure course at Gatton Park, pottery painting in Woodhatch, and a pre-Olympic talk at Betchworth Village Hall. Brockham Arts Club have an event at Buckland Lake next week. Stay tuned for the details. There's a walk through Buckland as well. And if you've fallen on hard times, there's a community kitchen meal this coming Wednesday. Details on the way, and an event to welcome in spring at Priory Park. And St George's Day, celebrations next weekend. A couple of spring fairs, a bluebell walk and a quiz too. And in the news, perfume has been stolen from a store in Reigate. New lower speed limits could be coming to some local roads. Details of the new location for Redhill Library on the way. Plus all the local nominees for the Muddy Stilettos Awards, so you can vote for and support some of our local businesses. Plus, some young farmers need your help. The Environment Agency's been clearing out one of our local rivers. Spare allotment places locally. I'll tell you how you can apply for one of the plots and what Tesco Hookwood is doing to help a local charity. In sport, we feature Reigate Rugby Club, Merstham FC, Redhill Bowls and South Park FC as well. In job opportunities, driving for some local schools and a role to help out at a local family convenience store. In travel, details of another closure on Pebble Hill, and I'll tell you the cheapest local petrol in the area as well. Plus our stars are from South Nutfield and Reigate, and our 60-second soundscape is from Redhill.
This is the Planet Reigate podcast with Peter Stewart.
Yes, hello. How are you doing? Hope you're well. Hope you've had a good week. Don't forget to subscribe to the show in your favourite podcast app and ask your friends to as well, because that way you don't miss a show. It's automatically downloaded to your device of choice. It's always there as soon as it's released, and you can listen to it whenever you want to, whether it's on a commute, a dog walk, exercising or working around the house. It is always there. You've always got content to listen to. And it's great to see a like on social media, but always love it if you can share our posts with your friends, your fans, your followers as well on whatever platform you're on. Okay, let's start off as we always do with our post bag. Well, we call it a post bag. That's a bit old-fashioned, but you know what I mean. Robin says, I hadn't heard of your podcast before. Now I'm so glad I have. I'd love to be one of your features. Yeah, Robin, I know we're sorting something out for that in our next round of interviews. Karen says it's a lovely idea. And Christine says we will encourage our members to sign up. That's Christine from the English Arts Chorale in Reigate. And also it was a fantastic write-up. You know, a few weeks ago I spoke at the Redhill Business Guild meeting, and it was lovely. A week ago to get their notes, their minutes from the meeting, and got a lovely write-up there about everything that I'd said. So thank you very much indeed for those guys for doing that and distributing it out to further people. This week I checked out the new Priory Park cafe in Reigate and spoke to the woman behind it. You'll hear that interview a little bit later on in the show. Kate is her name, and also I got she treated me to a milky coffee. A milky coffee. I genuinely don't know where that came. That's what we used to call them back in the day, didn't it? When I was a kid, my mum would say, "Do you want a milky coffee?" A latte, that's what it is, isn't it? A milky coffee. And you'll hear later on in the show. I also spoke with Adam of Adam's Gallery, Reigate High Street, about the new Alice in Wonderland exhibition, which is on for the next few weeks. He's up later on. And also had a brief meeting with Michael from the area's Rotary Club about the good work they do and how we can work together with the Rotary to help publicise the events held by them and their partner groups and charities right across the area. Had that meeting over at Bloom and Bakes in Cage Yard, which was good to sit out there last Saturday in the spring sunshine. Do stay tuned, okay, for the Good Time Guide, which is on the way. It's things to do, places to go, people to meet, new adventures to be had, things to be learned as well. Yeah, it's the Good Time Guide. It's our weekend edition on the Planet Reigate podcast.
The Good Time Guide. Things to do and places to go on the Planet Reigate podcast.
And if you do want a mention in the Good Time Guide, particularly if yours is a charity or non-profit event, let us know about it. If you can, please via the planetreigatepodcast.com and the form there, or hello at the planetreigatepodcast.com. Give us a couple of weeks' notice so we get our ducks in a row. And obviously, if you've interacted with us before, if you've dropped us a line, if we've mentioned you, if you've said hello, if you've shared one of our posts on social media, then obviously we will look very favourably on mentioning you on the show to our several hundred listeners each and every week right across Reigate, Redhill and Merstham, Buckland and Betchworth and Brockham as well. Saturday, 13th of April, Reigate Sustainability Markets, eco-friendly products from local vendors. It's all happening between 10 and 3 at Reigate Methodist Church, just on the High Street there. And if you're wondering who's going to be featuring there, well, passionate local vendors, eco-conscious artisans, sustainability advocates, they say, from socks made from plastic bottles to handmade crafts. For example, ceramic fitch, hand-thrown ceramics using recycled clay, and Creatively Emmy, homemade baby and children's wear. If you want to know more about them, then they're both featured in episode 17 of the Planet Reigate podcast, as well as being at the Reigate Sustainability Market on Saturday. And these great local companies were from episode 18 of the Planet Reigate podcast. Nature Reclaim Shop, they do upcycling of bottle lamps and candles and tumblers. And recycled jewellery comes from Carolyn Daunt Design, and also the award-winning vegan Dulce de Leche as well. And these other great companies are going to be featuring at the Sustainability Market this weekend. Socks made from plastic bottles, hand-drawn illustrations and sustainable prints for Surrey homes from Brandon Field, crochet wonders, crochet toys, unique wooden gifts from DJ Carter Designs, contemporary and classical floristry from Perfumed Garden Florists, and African-inspired sustainable gifts from the Copper Fruit. So all that is going on. Once again, it's the Sustainability Market at Reigate Methodist Church, Saturday between 10 and 3. You can learn to crochet on Saturday between 10:30 and 12:30 at the Plough Inn in Earlswood. Beginners and up-learners to learn how to crochet bunting. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Hook, yarn and printed pattern to take home and complete your project. Coffee and pastries during the class, and limited spaces are available. And if you want some more details, In the Loop Crochet on Facebook for more on that. There's a wellness retreat and wreath making and forest bathing and sound healing all going on this weekend Join Jessica at the beautiful Buckland Park Lake for an afternoon of connecting with the beautiful land and your inner being. Activities include, as I say, forest bathing, intention setting, gentle somatic movement, and a sound bath as well. Details: reformcommunity.co.uk. It'll cost you £75 to be involved with that. The Rooftops Band is performing at St Matthew's Church Hall at 7 o'clock on Saturday in aid of church fund, suitable for all the family. Tickets available online or on the door. £7 or £4 for the under-16s. Yeah, I love this. Includes snacks and nibbles, but please bring your own drink, glasses and dancing shoes. Love that. You can get in touch with them. St Matthew's Church Hall. They're on Facebook. Any problems, of course, as I always say with any of these, drop me a line and I'll pass on the details.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
On Sunday, the Reigate Business Guild is in Reigate, which kind of seems appropriate, for a litter pick Sunday from 9:30 in the morning. Whether you're free for just 30 minutes or available for more, they'd really appreciate your support in the morning. They supply high-vis and litter picking equipment. And after all that, you probably want to relax, don't you, with a pint or something else and listen to some live jazz at the Hatch at Shaw's Corner. It's back this Sunday from 4:30 to 6:30. I haven't already had a pint. Lorraine Gauntlet on vocals, Simon Rushby on piano and vocals. Favourites from the Great American Songbook of jazz and swing standards and classics, some smooth contemporary sounds from across the decades, perfect for relaxing for a chilled Sunday afternoon at the Hatch in Redhill. And that is the Good Time Guide Part 1. And we'll hear some more about what to do later in the week, Monday through to next Saturday, a little bit later on in the show that we call the Planet Reigate podcast. Now, later on, we're going to be hearing from the man behind new music events being held locally. So if you're an unpublished singer-songwriter or you enjoy a night that's not just covers, listen out for that. Have you been to the new café at Priory Park yet? It's been a while in coming, hasn't it? But it opened last week and I've been speaking to the woman behind it. And if you're a fan of Alice in Wonderland books, you could get to see and own a little bit of history. Yeah, a new exhibition is on locally. I've been speaking to the man who's running it, and you can hear our conversation a little bit later on. Plus, in the news, we're going to be featuring about some new lower speed limits could be coming to some of our local roads, and I'll list all the local nominees for the Muddy Stiletto Awards, which you've probably heard of. So therefore, you can vote for them. You've got a few days to vote for them. It's all about supporting our local businesses, over and above the ones in other parts of Surrey. And I'm sure you understand and appreciate the reasons behind that. This is Peter Stewart. It's the Planet Reigate podcast. Thank you for the loan of your ears.
The Planet Reigate podcast. Great stories from Reigate.
Well, a new arts event is coming to Reigate, and it's going to be so big, venues have been block booked for a whole weekend. The new music fest that's been held at old Reigations in the past, you may have been to it, is evolving this year into the Reigate Summer Festival. It's a celebration of local talent and creativity in all of the arts. So as well as live music, there's going to be dance and drama, film, poetry, literature, art and comedy, and all in the middle of town. Now, one of the team behind it all is Tim Glynne-Jones. Now, you may know him from Reigate's new music nights, a Reigate Priory football club. And I caught up with him to ask about that. And also, a little bit later on, in a couple of minutes' time, you'll hear us talking about the Reigate Summer Festival as well.
New Music Nights was set up back in 2013 to provide a platform for people who write their own songs. Reigate is really well catered for live music. Lots of the pubs do it, but they want covers bands for obvious reasons. So if you write your own music, there wasn't really a place to get out and play it, so I wanted to create that. So we launched that in 2013, and since then we've put on 200 different acts over the years, some of which are fantastic. We're completely sort of genre agnostic, so any age, any genre, you come and play, and it's all about, having a place to perform whatever you're creativity is music-wise.
I get the impression there's a big wealth of talent in this area. The number of singing groups and orchestras and bands is phenomenal, isn't it?
I think in the classical music world, there's a lot of expertise around here. With pop music, there's less of an obvious sort of forum for it. So I don't know. I mean, there could be people living here who have been in bands who, done really well in music, but there's not really the network to know about that. And I guess we've been building that up a bit over the years. So there's an awful lot of talent, and I think that kind of comes from the fact there's an awful lot of people who love music. They love listening to it and they love writing it and performing it.
Maybe in some towns, obviously cities, more urban areas perhaps, you do tend to have a particular club, a particular venue or a pub, sometimes perhaps underground and those kinds of things where people do flock to on a Friday night. I'm thinking of, there used to be the Forum, didn't there, over in Tunbridge Wells. I'm not sure that's still going, but those kinds of places that Reigate and Redhill don't seem to have.
No, absolutely, and we'd love to build one. That's something that we'd love to do down the line, although hopefully not too far down the line. I think it's missions that we've always had over the years is that we've been relying on the kindness and the courage, really, of local sports clubs or local social clubs that are often worried about disturbing the neighbours or the police coming because there's a lot of kids who turn up. We actually provide a place for young people who can't go to pubs or whatever to come and, congregate and enjoy themselves.
And also to be enthused as well by music. Particularly there are fewer youth clubs and things like that. Well, let's not go down that road, but there are fewer places for them to go. But if they can go and be enthused by music, which has been something from the beginning of time, hasn't it? But their parents, their grandparents would have been enthused by going to different but similar kinds of concerts and venues. Why shouldn't they?
No, I think that's a really good point. And I'm quite proud of the fact that I think we're about the only place in Reigate, possibly Redhill, that provides that. It's a safe space. Kids can come, they can let their hair down, they can be amongst their friends. I mean, we've had some amazing nights with Reigate college bands. 100 of their friends and followers would come down and there'd be a bit of a mosh pit and they go mad. In over 10 years there's never been a hint of trouble, and it's really good.
To actually have a young person who's composed something and is going on stage, they're performing, they're saying, this is my passion, this is what I love, and they've got friends and family there to support them. That's only a good thing, isn't it?
It's a fantastic thing. And we've seen people who've come and done their first ever performance at New Music Nights, and then 2 years later they're on the stage at the Summer Festival and there's 100 of their friends like roaring them on. I mean, it's very moving and incredibly powerful, and you just see how these people grow and develop and sharpen up their act in public. I think there's no better way of doing it.
And then the pride of the town when perhaps they do go on to bigger and better things, because even though that's tough, some people will make a name for themselves, either regionally or nationally or possibly even internationally. It does happen. And for them to say, actually, it all started here in Reigate Redhill is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be great. I mean, Reigate has had its success stories of Disclosure, and I think, Fatboy Slim was in Reigate, wasn't he? And other people. Katie Melly was Redhill, wasn't she? So, there's a pedigree there. New Music Nights can't claim anyone like that yet, but there are people out there now trying to make it who, if they get that lucky break that you need, they could well do it. And I think the point is that if we didn't do this, there's no chance, right? So for anyone to have a chance, you've got to start somewhere.
And where are these usually held and how often? How do people find out about them?
Well, now our venue is Reigate Priory Football Club. We do it first Friday of the month. We have a website, newmusicnights.co.uk, and we've got the usual social media, Facebook and Instagram. We also have an emailing list that we mail out pretty frequently.
And you want to expand this a little bit, don't you? A bit later on in the year, you want to branch out not just music, but other kinds of arts events as well. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, since 2014, we've been doing a summer festival, New Music Fest. We've done, I think, 9 or 10 of those. This year, we didn't have a venue for it, and so we started looking around, and we'd often kind of had an idea of doing something in the middle of town. So we decided to try and explore that and see if we could get permission, and we've got permission. So basically, we're putting the festival on in the middle of town in Tunnel Road. Is where the main stage is going to be, with another centre in the Methodist Church for a lot of choirs, and in the community centre at the back, I think there's going to be dance and some art. And we're calling it Reigate Summer Festival because it's broadening out beyond music. Dance, drama, comedy, literature. hopefully you'll be in Reigate on the weekend of Father's Day weekend, so it's the 14th, 15th, 16th of June. And you'll just feel there's a buzz, and wherever you go, there'll be things on in the pubs, the main stage in Tunnel Road, the community centre, the cinemas involved, the library, Waterstones getting involved. So there's just going to be stuff going on everywhere you go. It's going to have a buzz.
This sounds tremendous. How can people get involved if they're thinking, OK, I'm doing something which is a little bit different. I play glockenspiel and I do cover versions of The Stranglers on glockenspiel or whatever it happens to be. I don't know. Whatever crazy thing.
To hear that.
Or maybe they do something that usually we see on Britain's Got Talent, some weird and wonderful but brilliant stilt walking while dressed as Liz Truss or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
how do they... I don't know. You're getting an insight into my mind. How do they get in touch if they want to volunteer their act, be part of this?
Yeah, you can email hello@New Music Nights. If there's not room for you this year, there'll be room next year. So, just tell us what you're about and we'd love to hear about it.
You're already thinking of next year. You reckon this is going to be a success, don't you?
I really do, because we've had such positive response to it. Everyone that we've spoken to, be it a group that does something artistic or be it a venue that might want to put it on, they've all jumped at it and they can see it. A vision that's not hard to grasp. The years that I've lived here, which is, nearly quarter of a century now, just aware that there's so much artistic stuff going on in town.
It's all been a bit disparate, hasn't it? A bit separate, but joining it all together under one name, under one banner, makes sense.
It absolutely does, because I think everyone puts in a lot of effort voluntarily to run all these different groups. They're all having to build their own audience and do their own publicity, and it's all siloed, I suppose. So to share the load just makes absolute sense.
And also I'm thinking, Tim, that when people come along to a particular choir or a band or a performance poet or whatever it happens to be, if they want to join with that particular group, for them to be able to have their banner up, to be able to give out leaflets and so on, it's a really good way for people to take a sample perhaps of different choirs, say, and see which one fits in with their particular love of music or their particular style or genre.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's a big attraction for the people who are taking part and putting on acts. It's an opportunity for them to let everybody know that they're there and what they do and, drum up interest like that.
How good has the council been in helping you? Because sometimes it can be a bit difficult, can't it, knocking on doors at the town hall?
They've been great. I mean, in all honesty, I've never really tried knocking on doors too much at the town hall, but I've always been aware that there's not been much of an element of the arts there until recently, and I feel that's changed. We all know what's been going on with the Harlequin, and that's created problems for them, and it's forced them to look at alternatives, and we provide that alternative, and so does everybody else involved. And so they've been really behind it. They've been really helpful. I'm glad to say it's good for the town.
It's good for the town, and also it's good for those venues as well, isn't it? Because all of these acts are going to be performing in much more intimate venues where you're going to be able to get closer to the person that's doing a book reading or singing solo on the mic or whatever it happens to be. Much more intimate than, the Harlequin, fantastic when it was there, and it may come back, we're not entirely sure at the moment, but that big auditorium experience is something a little bit different.
Everything has its place, doesn't it, in the overall mix, but I think personally I really like smaller intimate venues as you've described it, where you can sort of see the sweat on the brow of the person who's performing and you can see their emotion coming across, and and it feeds back. It's a two-way thing. Watching a performance, I think when it's that raw, it's got a real power about it.
And a bit more friendly. Your background is music as well, aren't you? You are a performer too.
It's nice of you to say so. I play in a band. I mean, I often sort of hesitate to call myself a musician, but I play enthusiastically in a band. And, that was one of the drivers for starting the whole New Music Nights thing, that, we play our own songs, and it was quite hard to find a place that wanted us to play our own songs. They wanted us doing Mustang Sally or, Sweet Home Alabama and all that sort of stuff, which we can't play. I've always loved music, so I just find it a very exciting world, and I think there's so many aspects to it, from the technical side, the music sound tech side that attracts people, through to the marketing side of it. There's something for everyone in music.
That's really interesting what you say about that. It's not just the performers that you're going to be attracting to this. You're also going to need people who are maybe at one of the local colleges who are interested in going into events management or marketing and promotions and those kinds of things, or sound, because you're going to have microphones and mixers and all that kind of stuff as well. It's right across the board that the whole town is going to potentially get involved with. This is really exciting.
Yeah, well, the opportunity's there, and we've worked with the college closely from the start. We've got a student called Flynn who's been helping us with sound for the last year and a half or so, who's brilliant, and he brings this enthusiasm and this willingness, and he's learning. And we've had other people similarly in years gone by who've gone on to ACM in Guildford and are now in careers working as sound technicians. That's a real success story, and I'm not claiming all the credit for that, but I would claim some credit for it. We've given them valuable work experience and they've absolutely grasped the opportunity.
What are your hopes for the festival this year and perhaps going on into the future?
I hope that people turn up and that they get excited about it and give it a chance, because I think anything new people can be sceptical about. But there's going to be something for everybody here. And so the first thing to do is you can look on the website, see what's on, see where it's on, read about what sort of thing it is, and just plan how you want to enjoy that weekend. Sunday is Father's Day, so we're going to have a few dad bands. I just think there's something for everybody. So that, it will be lively on Saturday night. It will be a bit more family Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning maybe. And so just plan it yourself and come and get from it what you want.
Doesn't it sound great? Our thanks to Tim for talking to us recently. And if you want some more details, then you can go to newmusicnights.co.uk. That's the website for the Friday music nights, the first Friday of the month. All the details there for that. And also, if you click on the New Music Fest tab on there, then you'll be able to see a few details about the Reigate Summer Festival. I'm guessing they'll set up a separate website for that, but at the moment, details few and far between, it has to be said, on the newmusicnights.co.uk. And of course, you'll be able to hear more about the Reigate Summer Festival as it gets closer. We'll be involved with that, tell you what's going to be on, where it's going to be on, and the times and all the details and so on as we get involved with the guys for that, the Reigate Summer Festival. You can save the dates again, June the 14th to the 16th. And you heard about it on the Planet Reigate podcast. I'm Peter Stewart. Still to come in sport, we feature Reigate Rugby Club and Merstham Football Club and Redhill Bowls Club. And job opportunities, you can help out at a local family convenience store, and the company that runs the new café in Priory Park are after more staff. We'll actually hear from the person that runs the company that runs the new cafe in Priory Park. It's a bit like the old woman who swallowed a fly, that one, isn't it? In travel news, details on, another closure on Pebble Hill. We'll tell you when that's going to happen and the times too. And also, I'll tell you the cheapest local petrol in the area as well. All that and more on the Planet Reigate podcast after our news sequence. Well, police are looking to identify men in connection with a robbery in Reigate. Happened last Monday afternoon, 2:15, Monday the 18th. 3 men went into the Joe Malone store on the High Street. They stole 22 bottles of perfume worth almost £3,000. And when they were challenged by the staff, they suggested they had a weapon, and they left the store on foot. So, police are asking, were you in the area on Monday afternoon, around about 2:10, 2:20, something like that, Reigate High Street again? Have you got any CCTV? Maybe you run a dash cam footage while you drive around. Maybe you've got some helmet cam footage as well. May have captured the moments before or after the offence. Those 3 guys walking up the high street towards the shop, making their getaway. If you do have any information, then contact Reigate Police. They'll be very pleased to hear from you. Well, new speed limits could be coming to some of our local roads. Concerns have been raised about the 50 mile an hour limits on some of them in Tandridge. Surrey County Council is looking at the possibility of cutting them down to 40 miles an hour on the B2037 at 3 locations: Antlands Lane in Smallfield, Keeper's Corner in Burstow and Effingham Road in Copthorne, and also Copthorne Bank in Copthorne from Keeper's Corner to the junction with Oaklands Drive. Well, following on from the temporary closure of Redhill Library at Warwick Quadrant due to that reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete rack in the building, they're extending the service at the Consort House on Queensway. So 9:30 starts Monday to Saturday, late nights till 7 on Tuesday and Thursday, and the whole of the book stock from Redhill Library is being moved over to Consort House. Now, the temporary library building is smaller, so you'll only be able to browse on one floor and not actually see all the books that they've got, but all the stock will be available by request. It's just going to be kept elsewhere in the building, so you just have to ask for it and that'll be okay. And also they're going to be making available public PCs, free Wi-Fi, photocopying and printing, bus passes and blue badge applications, individual study spaces, that's important, isn't it, coming up to exam season, of course, the dedicated children's library, and various events like their regular Saturday and Wednesday rhyme times. It's going to start from Saturday the 27th of April at 10:30, and that whole programme of events is going to be extended over the next several weeks. Muddy Stilettos, you've heard of them, of course. They've been around for a while, haven't they? And of course they're famous for their Muddy Stilettos Regional Awards. Well, the Surrey Regional Finals are now officially open. Only for a few more days, though. Voting closes on the 18th of April at 1 o'clock lunchtime. So if there's a business that you love, make sure you vote for them. And in the Planet Reigate area, you may wish to vote and support these local businesses. Under the headline of Boutique Stay, we got Langshot Manor in Hawley up for an award. The Café of the Year, Cannock Inn in Reigate, of course. Casual Dining, another of our friends at Lebnani. Children's Business of the Year in Surrey, Creatively Emmy in Reigate. It's their second mention of the episode. They're also featured back in episode 17. I love their designs, I really did. Destination Pub of the Year for Surrey, the Pheasant in Buckland. Yeah, been there a couple of times recently. Family Attraction of the Year, Mercer's Country Park in Redhill. Hoping to speak with Henry there in the not too distant future. Aquasports, of course. Discoveryland at Priory Farm in South Nutfield. Well, I was there. I think it was just before Christmas with my partner and seeing what they had on there. We had a little nose around and we went into the various shops. There's plenty to do there, isn't there? Discoveryland at Priory Farm. The Farm Shop Deli of the Year for Surrey. Oh, Priory Farm Estate again. I went there just before Christmas. Did I tell you? Apparently I did. Fitness Instructor of the Year, Grace Campbell Coaching in Lye. The Hotel of the Year, Nutfield Priory. Local Food and Drink Producer, Nutfield Dairy. They were featured in episode 17 of the Planet Reigate podcast. Vine King in Reigate up for the award of Surrey's Wine and Beer Specialist. And Quattro Rish in Reigate, Women's Fashion and Accessories. So if you want to vote for any of those, surrey.muddystilettos.co.uk/awards/finalists. Merstham Young Farmers Club are looking for volunteer help, so do you love spending time outdoors? Do you like working with young people? No special skills or experience required, just a whole bundle of enthusiasm. They meet every Thursday, term time, 7 to half 8, in the Merstham Hub and surrounding areas as well. If you want some more information, if you think you can get involved, development at Surrey YFC, Young Farmers Club.co.uk 01737 844 528. The Environment Agency's been doing some important job in the week removing trees jamming Brockham footbridge. And obviously if they stayed there, then that would have increased the risk of local flooding. And that team cover the whole of the entire River Mole catchment area, so they've been really busy there, so our thanks to them for doing that. And I understand there are some spare allotment plots at Redstone Hill allotments And Nutfield Road, currently 24 allotment sites across the borough of Reigate and Banstead, over 1,000 plots. Incidentally, did you know all tenants pay £50 deposit at the start of the tenancy? And the charge is April to March, £97.80. If you want some more details on that, reigate-banstead.gov.uk, and then about 500 characters. I'm not going to read it. You want me to read it all out? Okay. 20041/leisure/69/allotments ? FB. No? Okay. Just contact me and I'll pass on the details.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
Do you shop at Tesco Hookwood? You'll now find collection boxes for our friends over at Loveworks Food Bank at the front of the store. You can pop a tin or two in your trolley to support those in their community who need help with food right now. And then once you've paid for it, you pop it in their collection bin as well. And it all goes to our friends over at Loveworks, who I interviewed a few days ago, and you'll be able to hear our chat with them in the not too distant future on the Planet Reigate podcast. This is Peter Stewart. Thanks for the loan of your ears. More contact details, always really pleased to hear from you.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com. Find out more at theplanetreigatepodcast.com. Leave a text or voice message on WhatsApp 07917 874 572 and leave a review on your favourite podcast app. Support us at buymeacoffee.com/The Planet Reigate podcast.
Buymeacoffee.com. And talking about coffee, I've been down to the brand new Priory Park café and spoken to Kate down there, who, well, actually, she treated me to a coffee and a muffin, actually, last Saturday mornings. That was great. Thank you, Kate. But anyway, I was going to give her publicity anyway about the fantastic array of coffees and cakes down there. They've also made a few changes to the pavilion building in Priory Park. And hold on, there is a link now, isn't there, into our other guest this week, Adam from Adam's Gallery. But they've got a display, bear with me, they've got a display about Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass. And I'm thinking of the potion and the food. Yeah, eat me, drink me. Yes, there's more cake and drinks going on there as well. Yes, hear more about Adam's Gallery a little bit later on in the show as well. But first of all, let's say congratulations to Reigate Rugby Club for winning their league and achieving promotion this season. I mean, look at these stats. 16 games and 16 wins. Yeah, congratulations to them. Exciting times ahead. And what a result this was for Merstham Football Club against Sevenoaks Town. What a performance in front of a crowd of 689. The scoreline, Merstham Football Club 5, Sevenoaks Town 0. Redhill Bowls Club start date is the 21st of April from 2:30. They've also got a social evening on Friday nights from 6:30. And as an extra this year, they're running a come and try day on Monday the 27th of May from 10 in the morning. It's all part of Bowls UK's Big Bowls Weekend. They say free coaching, excellent facilities, social and competitive, all ages and abilities, licensed clubhouse and a large car park. More information from John, 07817 616161. That's a nice phone number, isn't it? I like that one. John, if you're ever going to stop using your mobile phone and want to change your 07817 616161. Under 11 trials for the 24-25 season via South Park FC. They're looking for experienced young footballers for next season across 2 9-a-side teams. So if you're interested in joining a local club, great facilities, and your boy is in school year 6 from September, please come and get involved. And the details are 07825 028857. To be fair, Charles, your number is not quite as memorable as John's, but I'll give it again. 07825 028857. Yeah, that's Charles G. Merry. But he's got a great surname, has he? Charles Merry at gmail.com. And they've got an open morning on the 13th of April from 9:30 to 11. So Saturday morning, 9:30 to 11 if you want some more details for that. And also staying with sport, there's a multi-sport summer camp, and they're already talking about this. Yeah, the summer. For more information on this, Mark Pembridge Elite Coaching at gmail.com. I'll give that in a few moments' time again. The activities: football, cricket, field hockey, dodgeball, badminton, ultimate frisbee, rounders, handball, dodgeball and more. Camp dates: July 30th to August the 2nd, July the 6th to the 19th, August the 13th to the 16th, my birthday, August the 20th to the 23rd for ages 5 to 13, times 9 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon. £40 a day or £135 for the week of what week is 4 days. All, as I say, happening at South Park in Reigate, RH2 8LG. And that email address again for more information: Mark Pembridge Elite Coaching at gmail.com. And you know what I always say, if you don't know the spellings for that, or it doesn't get through, it bounces back or whatever, you want some more details on that, or indeed anything else I mention on the show, get in touch.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
In a moment, we celebrate local heroes with our weekly Planet Reigate Stars Awards, and we've got so much more in our archive shows as well. For example, Tim from the Reigate Photographic Society told us more about the club in episode 9, and hear from the parade commander at the 2023 Armistice Poppy Drop at the Belfry in episode 10. Yeah, he's the guy that kind of brings everybody to order and barks the announcements and so on. Find those episodes on our page on your favourite podcast app. And while you're there, you know what I'm going to say, why don't you subscribe as well to the show so you don't miss an episode?
Planet Reigate Stars, thanking local heroes who are out of this world.
Well, first of all, almost £700 raised for the Motor Neurone Disease Association, MND, last weekend by a group selling cakes outside Holborn's in South Nutfield. A great way to send Tim Bellers off to Cape Town for the next of his 7 marathons in 7 months in 7 countries. I love that. Almost £1,700 has now been raised to help find a cure and improve the care for motor neurone disease. Brutal condition, as you know. If you would like, you can still support him via their Just Giving page. So justgiving.com and search for Tim Bellers, Bellars. He's running 7 marathons in 7 months in 7 countries, and the organisers behind that cake sale say huge thanks to everybody in the village and elsewhere who baked cakes, bought cakes, donated to our cause. In particular, they say Nancy Jane, Lindsay Myland, Sandra Fine, Helen Setters, Charlotte Holborn and Dean Holborn as well. They get Planet Reigate Star Awards. And Jez Dutfield from Reigate is a subcontractor for Surrey Fire and Rescue. He's going to be walking from Purley Fire Station to a pub near Brighton Pier alongside more than a dozen firefighters tomorrow, Saturday the 13th. Walking in full fire kit, those guys. The firefighters joining him will also be doing the walk wearing breathing apparatus as well. Why is all this going on? Well, Jez says, a couple of years back, my brother took his own life, and then 2 months later, my mum died. 2 weeks after her funeral, my father died, and I was then diagnosed with prostate cancer, all of that within about 6 months. Well, he's raising money for the Firefighters charity, which helped him out at that difficult time. Our best wishes to him for that on the walk tomorrow. This is the Planet Reigate podcast. I'm Peter Stewart. Don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends. Now, last week, a fundraising page for the 17th Reigate St Joseph's Scout Group has been set up after their minibus was taken and torched. And last week, we heard what's happened from Scout leader Matt Brown and how you can help. Plus, we had a tour of the group's building from Tony Brown. actually Matt's dad, who's also the district commissioner, and we heard the work they and others like them do to help young people in our communities. And also recently I've been to Betchworth to a recent exhibition that told the fascinating, sometimes macabre stories of some of those buried in St Michael's churchyard. Local archivist Karen last week on the programme told us a couple of stories, both of which have links with World War I. There was the story about the man who went to fight and is buried locally with two names. Intriguing, he's got two names. Hear the story behind that. And also the woman who escaped from France to come home to Betchworth only to be killed on the family estate at Moore Place. That's a horrific story, it really is. So you may want to listen to those, maybe young years, for that. For the first story. The second one I've told you about, but actually it's first in the recording. Maybe need to be a little bit further away for that one. But it's a bit like kind of Tales of the Unexpected. Remember that Roald Dahl? Yeah, back in the day. Do you remember that? Sunday night? I'm going off on one, aren't I? And also last week, the curious case of England's football captain who was found asleep on Reigate Hill. Hear what happened to Kevin Keegan in last week's programme. Next week, local musician Jamie is a really busy man because when he's not composing, he's playing. When he's not playing, he's producing. And when he's not doing all of that, he's either running some gigs or being a mentor to young people at Carrington School. Hear from Jamie in episode 32 of the Planet Reigate podcast. And thinking back to some of the sports and recreations we've covered in the show in the past, I mean, sports, football, cricket, rugby, bowls we mentioned earlier on in this week's episode, swimming as well, recreation, things like yoga. Next week, we focus on a local volleyball club for men and women. So are you into volleyball? Would you like to be into volleyball? Is it something that you've considered doing? Or maybe it's something you've never considered doing, but now I've said the word volleyball to you, you're thinking, hold on, maybe that could be something for me. Maybe volleyball is something your child could be interested in. It's all great stuff. I went down there to speak with Wayne and Beth, and they're my guests in next week's show. Wayne is good, but Beth, bit of a secret weapon, as you'll hear in next week's programme. And later on this week, Kate, who runs the newly opened café in Priory Park, and Adam from Reigate's Adam's Gallery on the one-time only show of originals from the Alice in Wonderland books that you can go and see and buy as well. But before all that, it's part 2 of our Good Time Guide, helping you plan your week ahead in the Planet Reigate area.
The Good Time Guide. Things to do and places to go on the Planet Reigate podcast.
And if you want to mention for your business, your charity, your non-profit events, drop us a line via the planetreigatepodcast.com. Give us a couple of weeks' notice, of course. And here we go with Monday the 15th of April. Gatton Park, they say due to popular demand, they've added another garden structures course to their calendar. It's going to be held on Monday between 1 and 4 at Gatton Park. Learn the weaves to craft a willow obelisk for your garden. Materials and tools all provided. gattonpark.co.uk. Craft with Barbara. It's pottery painting. You can decorate a cup and saucer plant pot. Monday 2 till 4 p.m. at Woodhatch Community Centre, £4.50 a person. That's White Beam Drive in Reigate, RH2. The Art Society of Betchworth have a talk at Betchworth Village Memorial Hall, Monday 2:30. Well, of course, the Olympics are coming up, aren't they? And their talk is entitled Sport of the Gods, Olympia and the Ancient Olympics. Well, the ancient Olympics lasted for over 1,000 years and were both very similar and very different to the modern games that we're going to be experiencing in Paris in a few weeks' time. They were held in honour of the great god Zeus at his sanctuary. The art and architecture of that sanctuary was emblematic of the ancient Olympic spirit and represents some of the finest sculpted art to survive from ancient Greece. Well, the lecturer is going to be James Renshaw, who's got a degree in classics from Oxford University and now teaches at Godolphin and Latimer in London. Are you interested in the Olympics? Are you interested in ancient Greece and the gods? Are you interested in sculpture? Are you interested in going along? The Arts Society Betchworth.org.uk is where you can find out some more details. Let's skip on to Wednesday the 17th of April. Brockham Arts Club have confirmed a beautiful venue for April's Paint and Sip Night. It's the Reverie at Buckland Park Lake. Yes, Wednesday the 17th of April between 7 and 9:30. And they say join us for a relaxed paint and sip night. Ticket price includes park entrance, all materials required, and a mini charcuterie board. Drinks can be purchased from the bar. No experience is necessary. Beginners are welcome. £29. Amanda has got some more information and she'll give it to you verbally down the phone. If you give her a call, 07914 641181, 07914 641181, or brockhamartsclub.co.uk. Also, you can go to Redhill Methodist Church for ESA's free community kitchen. Yes, I said ESA's, E-E-S-A. Tell you a bit more about ESA in a few moments' time. It's a fully free 2-course meal for anyone who needs to cut costs or has fallen on hard times. And it's on Wednesday and then every other Wednesday going forward from that date. It's 7 at night till 9 p.m. And they say, all we ask is if you can reserve your seat and how many are coming via our Facebook event, phone call or text message, because they simply, as you would understand, don't want food to go to waste or people to go without. And their contact number, it's probably easier than sending you to a Facebook page, isn't it? Contact number is 07301 428859. That number again, 07301 428859. Yeah, the Facebook page says we're not here to judge who needs help. We're here for our beautiful son, Isa, and for his name to live on through this good cause. Some more events going on now. Let's turn to Thursday, a programme of fun, free and accessible weekly volunteer-led walks, ideal for anyone looking to become more active and meet new people. This walk starting at Buckland, 10:30, and it's going to be at Rectory Lane, Buckland War Memorial, for a walk of 60 to 90 minutes. Mandy Cooper is leading it. If you want to get in touch with Mandy, hear about any more information, Mandy Cooper digit 1 at yahoo.co.uk. Friday the 19th, Wild Women. There's a thought. I see, women in the what? Right. Hello Spring, 10 till 12 o'clock, Priory Park. They're going to be meeting at Park Lane East entrance. And it says, join the friendliest group of females in the woods of Priory Park to celebrate the arrival of spring. You can enjoy gentle movement to wake up those sleepy bodies, mindful activities to stimulate the senses, non-judgmental sharing if you want to express everything you feel at this exciting time of the year. It's an opportunity to get creative, celebrate the natural treasures, nature, art, woodland crafts as well, all washed down with seasonal snacks and drinks around the fire in Priory Park Woods. And the message is, do get in contact if you'd like to share a craft or activity, maybe a piece of poetry or anything at all that reflects the theme. A safe space to express, enjoy the company of other women and the natural world. Ticket £18. Come as you are. You're welcome in whatever mood you happen to be in on the day. Full of life, fed up with it all, tired, excited, grumpy or whatever. £18. And if you want the details for that, it's another long Facebook address. Get in touch with me, I'll pass them on.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
Saturday the 20th, join us at Hawley Community Centre from 10 till 2 for our St George's Family Fun Day. There's lots for the whole family to enjoy. Activities like line dancing and visit the craft fair as well. There's stay and play and face painting. It's all at Hawley Community Centre, St George's Family Fun Day, 10 till 2, next Saturday the 20th of April. It's all being run by Reigate and Banstead Borough Council. Here's another one for you. 7th Reigate Scouts are holding a spring fair next Saturday, 10 till 2. A raffle, a chance to meet the mayor as well. And also, if you don't mind... Oh, kill the music. It's not just the mayor. I'll be there as well. But don't let that put you off. Okay. Come and support the 7th Reigate Scouts and enjoy some family fun. See you there. Yeah, hopefully see you there. That's the Spring Fair. It's at Scout HQ, Timperley Gardens, RH1 2AP. There's going to be a raffle, cake and biscuit stall, soak the leader, toss the ring on a bottle, hook a duck and splat a rat. A Nerf gun tin can alley, food and much, much more. It's all proceeds, as you might imagine, for the maintenance fund there with the Scouts. There's a spring show, 2:30 on Saturday the 20th. Flowers and floral arrangements, spring fruit and veg, cookery and photography, refreshments and raffle, a dahlia tuber sale and a seed swap as well. It's all being run by our friends over at Nutfield Gardening Society. So that sounds good, doesn't it? Where is it? Nutfield Village Hall is the location for that. If you want to get out and about, Bluebell Walk is going on at Glover's Wood, Saturday the 20th at 10 a.m. Where do you meet? Charlwood end of Glover's Road, RH6 OEG. And it says here, bring a flask and biscuits, because obviously they think you should be fed and watered en route. Gatton Community Theatre is holding a quiz night on Saturday. The quizmaster goes by the name of the fantastically nomenclatured, is that the right word? Mike Fortune. I don't know whether you can win a fortune if you win Mike's quiz, but it's all happening at Gatton Trust Education Cabin, Gatton Park in Reigate. They say here, use the car park at St Andrew's Church and then follow the signs. Doors open at 7. First questions at 7:30. Tickets £10 a person, includes a ploughman's supper. Vegan option available. Bring your own nibbles, drinks and glasses. Maximum 6 per team. Come as a team or just go along by yourself and make up a place. Jill at gun.org to book your place. That's Jill with a J. gun.org to book your place. And that concludes this week's edition of the Good Time Guide on the Planet Reigate podcast. It is the Planet Reigate podcast. I'm Peter Stewart. And you may have noticed, after more than a year, there's now a cafe in the Pavilion building at Priory Park. It's being run by Creamy and Bites. It's a family firm that's been behind the temporary kiosk in the park since late May last year, while the main building was being refurbished. And I caught up with Kate to ask her about the journey that got them to here and what their plans are now they're in the main building.
Yes, we are very, very happy to be in. The people are very happy as well. They are quite positive, have a lot of feedbacks. We're quite excited. Yeah.
It's been a while coming, hasn't it? Because the actual building has been closed for a couple of years, really. So it's fantastic that you're actually in. You've made a few changes. Tell me, looking around here, what you've done to the decor.
Yes, so we had a little bit changes. First of all, we have separate public toilets. They're run by the council. And we have our own toilets as well, just for the customers. It's quite bigger for us. We have more space to use for ourselves. We have well done prepared kitchens, so we are looking for next 2 weeks into this new menu. A lot of good ideas from the chefs. They want to prepare something what will be unique just for this place, maybe 1-2 dishes, which you cannot find in Reigate area. On top of that, we have at the moment a few hot food options, a lot of cakes, a lot of cookies, muffins, great coffee, which we supply from local roastery, which is in Surbiton, and delicious ice cream.
Now we're just waiting for the sun.
Yes, yes, that's true, yes.
And you've kitted it all out with some new chairs and tables and some new lampshades and flora and art on the wall as well.
Yes, so we try to make sure that the cafe looks very nice, especially in the park. So we want to put a few bits which is related to the park, to the nature, and we have soft, cozy area where the kids can play. There are some tables for the kids as well, some toys. Then we have tables where the people with the dogs can sit down there and they can enjoy coffee, having the dog inside.
That's fantastic. So you seem to have thought of everything. This is not your first venture, is it? You've done something similar to this elsewhere.
Yes, so we have similar project in Crystal Palace. We had kiosk in Richmond Park as well. And of course we have during the summer times a lot of events with mobile catering, ice cream vans. So we run around 15, 16 years. We are already in the business.
So you know what you're doing. And
yeah.
This is going to be fantastic, isn't it? First of all, when the sun comes out, but also this is talking to you in your first weekend. So you're going to find lots of activities here in the park over the course of the summer, running and the sports and people walking their dogs and playing with the kids in the playground right nearby. You've got a nice captive audience here, haven't you?
Yes. The place is really great. We have a lot of regular customers because we run the kiosk before until we move in. So they already know us. They know our staff, and people recognize what we're having. They're happy that we still can keep it some of the food what we had in the trailer as well. Yeah, so we are just waiting for better weather.
What attracted you to Reigate in the first place when you were running the kiosk first of all, and then what made you think, okay, we're going to take on this building as well?
We live very close because we live in Banstead, so it's our council as well, and we really like the park. There's a lot of attraction, a lot of potentiality for the people, for kids, for adults, so we can see quite a good future for us.
And the council were easy to work with, were they, to sort things out, to get you into the building?
Yeah, I'm really happy how we communicate with council, how they help us and how they manage all the process coming in, all the refurbishment. I'm really great that we have this kind of support from them.
Thank you so much. I know we brought you out from the kitchen to talk to you for a few minutes, so I know you're really busy. As I say, it's your first weekend. What's the big seller at the moment, Kate? What kind of coffee, what kind of cake are people going for?
The best is flat white, cappuccino, latte, and we have every day different kind of cakes. So starting from cheesecake, finish with muffins, cookies for the kids, which are very popular. But during the summertime, I think the soft ice cream one, they're the best seller.
And tell me again how pleased you are to actually be here permanently in Reigate now.
We are really, really happy. We cannot wait that more people can come and see. At the beginning, they wasn't sure if we are open or not yet, come in or just wait. So I think every week we'll see quite different new customers, and I hope it will be great.
And we hope it's going to be great as well for the very first summer for the new cafe there at Priory Park. And indeed, we wish all the very best to all of our local cafes and pubs and restaurants right across the Planet Reigate area, as indeed we do for all of our local businesses. And if you are one of those, then let us know what you are doing. Hello at theplanetreigatepodcast.com. So that's what's happening at Priory Park in Reigate. What's happening at Merstham Rec? Well, work is starting there, and it's going to go all the way through until January. That's a long time. Well, they're doing a lot of work. A new pavilion with a cafe kiosk, toilets and changing rooms, a play area for equipment for children of all ages and abilities, a parkour course for the over 12s. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? Parkour course. There's going to be an outdoor gym, an improved network of paths with better accessibility for wheelchairs and buggies, a picnic area, a community orchard, new trees and landscaping, and improved drainage so it doesn't get quite as boggy as it has done in recent winters. All of that is happening at Merstham Rec. And it's another opportunity to celebrate where we live. In the best bit of Britain, we call it the Planet Reigate area. Coming soon on this week's edition of the Planet Reigate podcast, a Wonderland has come to Reigate High Street with a gallery exhibition of original engravings from the Alice books by Lewis Carroll, who wrote the Looking Glass follow-up while actually in Guildford. Yeah, you can not only see those pictures but also buy them as well. I've been to see them and hear my chat soon on this week's edition of the show. Local jobs on the way soon and local travel and weather together. So local major roadworks we know about that could delay you this week. Give you the heads up so you can avoid the hold-ups. plus a look at the local forecast for the week ahead as well. And our 60-second soundscape from Redhill. It's before we go at the end of the show on the Planet Reigate podcast, uniquely and exclusively for Reigate and Redhill and Merstham, Buckland and Betchworth and Brockham.
Planet Reigate is delivering post from the sorting office in Redhill and delivering babies at the East Surrey Hospital. And this is the Planet Reigate podcast.
And our job spot, if you're looking for some extra income combined with your full-time job, you can contact Gatwick Links minibuses. They work with several state schools in the area to provide transport and thereafter a driver. Now, you'd be accompanied by a teacher. You need to be a PSV D or D1 category licence, and CPC card is required as well. But training can be arranged. Darmesh would like to hear from you if you're interested in that. 07912 304665 07912 304665. Holborns, we mentioned them a little bit earlier on, didn't we? They're looking for another member of staff to join the team. It's a family-run convenience store. It's just down there at Hooley Lane, isn't it? And that they have their fresh produce, coffee, pastries, groceries, chilled food, and the drinks and so on. Now, they're looking for someone to work a shift on a Sunday and then some midweek afternoons as well. If you're interested, you can get in touch with Charlotte at holborns.co.uk. Charlotte at holborns.co.uk. Guess you can always pop in as well, I guess. Creamy and Bites, they're the people who run the new café in Priory Park. They say they're on the lookout for skilled chefs to join their vibrant team, and they're also searching for dynamic assistant managers as well. Send your CV directly to info@creamyandbites.co.uk. So that again, info@creamyandbites.co.uk. Well, a little bit of magic is on display locally. The original engravings from Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. I've been to see the exhibition and spoken to the man behind it all and heard the story about how they were discovered. So if you're a fan of Alice, the Mad Hatter, Tweedledum and Tweedledee, the March Hare and Cheshire Cat, Queen of Hearts and so on, listen up. Here's Adam from Adam's Gallery on Reigate High Street on the Planet Reigate podcast.
We've tried to make it quite Victorian, so the furniture has been lent to us by the old Bakery Antiques. Rob, very nice guy. And obviously we're in a 500-year-old building, so that always adds to the atmosphere.
It does. You've got a terrific building here, haven't you? 500 years old. What did it used to be? What's the background?
Well, before us it was a solicitor's. Before that, I think it might have been a dressmaker's. It's also connected to the studios, which are out the back. Originally, this building was bought in 1930, and the person that bought it built a print studio, so it was a printer's. Before that, I think it might have been a fishmonger's, because there used to be a sign saying haddock and bloaters. So we've actually just about got rid of the smell now.
And you've been in here since 2020, is that right?
Yeah, so we opened during a lockdown, so we had to do a kind of virtual opening. And then since then, we've just been building it up, trying to get really good exhibitions. We've got some great artists, quite a few Royal Academicians, local artists, trying to support the local arts when we can, and also exhibitions like the one we have at the moment.
Yeah, so tell me about this. What have we got here? These seem to be original drawings or prints, or what are they from Alice in Wonderland?
They are the original wood engravings by Sir John Tenniel from Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Tenniel created these for Lewis Carroll, and the actual wood blocks were never used in the printing. They made a metal copy and printed from the metal copy, and then the wood blocks were kind of put away, forgotten about for 100 years, and then discovered about 1985 at the back of the Macmillan Publishing House in a safe. So then they commissioned a printer to make an edition of prints from the wood blocks, which had never been done, and so this is what we have. So the original wood blocks from Tenniel's drawings of Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland.
These are really special, aren't they?
They are really special, yeah, and so iconic as well. Obviously you've got the rabbit, oh dear, I shall be too late. Alice, when she just ate something and just kept growing.
This is when she's squeezed into one of the rooms and she's all kind of hunched up into a corner and so on.
Yeah, and then...
you got dozens of these.
Yeah, we've got about 50.
Yeah, the Mad Hatter. So a lot of these, and over here the Mock Turtle and so on as well. A lot of these pictures I do recognise, even though I was never an Alice in Wonderland fan. They kind of seep into your consciousness anyway, don't they?
Yeah, they do, absolutely. Yeah, they're so recognisable. The King and Queen of Hearts. All these images are so... they've been around since the 1860s, so I think Tenniel did it best. There have been a lot of artists that have interpreted Alice in Wonderland through illustrations, but I think most people would agree that Tenniel's versions were the ones that everybody recognises and remembers and thinks about when they think about Alice in Wonderland.
The original and the best. They're line drawings, but in intricate detail. Talk me through some of how he's able to create some of the depth and perspective and also the light and shade and so on within a picture.
Yeah, well, so what they are is actual wood engravings. So they were engraved on boxwood. So boxwood is a very hard, dense wood. Also Box Hill, that's where it gets its name. So box hedges as well. It actually grows very small because it's so dense, very slow growing. And then when you actually use it, you have to cut across the grain. But you are able to get very fine marks.
And you're doing this with a really sharp precision knife, are you?
Yeah, it's like engraving tools. But what Tenniel would do, he would make the drawings, and then he would transfer the drawings onto the wood blocks, and then the master engraver would engrave, and then you would print from the wood blocks. What's really good is that a lot of the time wood blocks were ground down because boxwood was so precious. So they would make the prints for the books or the magazines or whatever, and then once they'd finished, they would actually grind the images down and then reuse the wood blocks to create a new image.
Okay, so the wood blocks getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, and also the image would be lost.
Of course.
Whereas these, they were, for some reason, somehow, they were put away and kept safe, and luckily that they survived, which was very rare. So we have this record of a piece of history.
And you've got how many in this room, and then you've got another room next door with some more in?
Yeah, I think you've got 20 from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
And then shall we go through to the other room through here? Oh, through the looking glass as well. Oh, some more. I love the cupcakes as well. Brilliant.
Yeah, so we had an opening. So we had drink me potions and eat me cupcakes, which went down very well. But we got about 30 engravings from Through the Looking Glass. I think everyone knows, obviously, the Alice in Wonderland. So Tenniel, he wasn't originally going to illustrate for Through the Looking Glass, but Lewis Carroll persuaded him to
kind of keep that theme, that kind of branding, that feeling as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of to and fro with the artist and the engraver, so I think there was Tenniel's vision wasn't quite happy to begin with how the images were coming, but eventually they got there and he was okay about it. So.
Because Lewis Carroll would have had in his own mind the image that he wanted to portray and what Alice and the various characters were looking like, so he had to find presumably an illustrator that would replicate that and bought into what he was trying to produce.
Yeah, well, Lewis Carroll, when he wrote the book, it was actually called Alice's Adventures Underground, and he did actually illustrate it for Alice, the person who it was written for.
And he wrote it. Did he write it over in Guildford? Didn't he? When he was staying over in when he was living in Guildford.
Yeah. There's a trail, I think, over in Guildford.
Yeah, and Alice goes through the looking glass. There is a statue of her doing that in Guildford as well. I've seen it.
Yeah. But his drawings weren't really up to scratch, so that's why they commissioned. And Tenniel used to work for Punch, which was the political magazine of the time. So he was a perfect choice.
And these are absolutely wonderful. Now, as well as people coming to view them, it's not a museum, is it? You're also selling these as well, which is really unusual.
Yeah, they're for sale. They are a piece of literary history, basically. And considering what they are, I think they're pretty reasonable, ranging from sort of 250 up to 600. And we do have a complete set available, if anybody wants to buy that.
Wow, you could own a little bit of history. This has caught my eye over here. We've got, what is this? Is this like a battle scene or something here? There's an awful lot of intricate details of kind of bodies intertwined after what seemed to be a battlefield.
Yeah, well, the title is "The Ground Was Soon Covered with Little Heaps of Men." So I'm working my way through the books at the moment, so I can't tell you exactly. This is Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty, yeah.
So apparently Humpty Dumpty existed before anyway, and he was based on, I think it was either George III or George IV. He was slightly rotund. So Lewis Carroll put Humpty Dumpty in through the looking glass. Tweedledum up here, the walrus. You've got the Mad Hatter there in prison, so looking a bit sorry for himself.
So if you grew up with any of these stories, either Alice in Wonderland or Alice Through the Looking Glass, or even you want to have a little bit of history, or maybe there's something about you, your family history, that you really do want to own, maybe the Mad Hatter or Humpty Dumpty or Alice as well, some of these really iconic pictures and scenes, then you need to get down here to Adam's Gallery. How long is it open for?
It's on until the 26th of May. Please come down and just have a look, enjoy, see them for yourself, marvel at them because they are incredible.
And what else have we got? While we're here, let's just have a look into this third gallery area upstairs. And there's also some more pictures downstairs as well. In here, this is the gallery which overlooks the high street.
Yeah.
Slightly more modern things, yeah?
Yeah, so we've got a mixture in this room. We have several Royal Academicians, so Stephen Chambers, very well-known RA, sort of curated the summer exhibition a couple of years ago. We've got Dave McKean over here. If anyone knows Neil Gaiman, the author, Dave McKean illustrated all the Sandman covers. He's also did the Rolling Stones, Voodoo Lounge, Heston Blumenthal's cookbooks. What he's done is incredible. Local ceramicist Penny Green, Sheila Noble, another local painter. And some jewellery. This lady's Erica, she's based in South London. So some lovely kind of crystalline glazed jewellery and porcelain.
And also over here, some movie posters and some other pictures which you can buy and frame and hang up on your wall.
Yeah, that's right, and we can frame them. So, we've been here 3.5 years, opened in a lockdown, and we didn't start framing at the beginning, but now we offer that as a service.
And also art supplies as well, I noticed downstairs.
Supplies, paints, brushes, water, so yeah.
And what's the response been in Reigate to you being here, Adam?
Yeah, it's good. I've been around the town sort of as an artist for 20 odd years, so there are murals around the town by myself that people might recognise. One by Boots, the old high street from 100 years ago, an old Frith photograph. And then all the murals about the brewery.
Oh, down by Brewery Yard, yeah?
Yeah, so we did those. They went up in the lockdown, so that was kind of quite under the radar sort of. But they're still there for people to enjoy and read about the history of Reigate through beer, which is quite fun. We're gaining sort of, a reputation for good quality art and supporting the local artists as well.
And again, coming back to those items that we've got here from the two Alice books,
yes.
That's quite a coup, isn't it, to have them here in Reigate?
Yeah, it's amazing. I think we're very lucky to have them. I mean, the show we had before, we had Picasso, Matisse, Chagall, and we've got John Piper in June. John Piper is a very famous British artist from the 1950s. Really looking forward to that, actually. Oh, and Samuel Palmer. We've got a really good Samuel Palmer show coming later on in the year. And he was a friend of William Blake's 200 years ago.
Oh, he was local, wasn't he? Was he over at Redhill way?
Cronk's Hill, so just at the top of Meadvale. So his house was there, and he's buried in St Mary's Church. He lived the last 20 years of his life in Reigate. Knew William Blake, considered like the father of pastoral painting, and his etchings are incredible. And he was rediscovered in the sort of 1920s by Graham Sutherland and various people. So yeah, we're going to have a kind of Palmer-inspired exhibition. Hopefully I'll do an open call. We do that sometimes, where we invite our local artists to submit pictures inspired by a theme, and hopefully get some Palmers in themselves. A couple of Palmers would be really nice.
So it's somewhere different to go on the high street. If you haven't been here already, obviously it's free to come in and you can have a look at the exhibition, hopefully buy something as well. Adam, remind us whereabouts you are.
We are 42A High Street, just next door to All About Eve. so opposite Specsavers.
And it's fascinating to go in there and have a look around. I haven't been in there for a very long time, but it was great to be reacquainted with what they've got. And the Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass exhibition is absolutely fascinating. If you've got a spare, well, just even if 10 minutes, do go in there and pass on my best regards to Adam when you do so. Now, of course, as you know, this podcast is exclusively for RH1, 2 and 3, so we don't like to mention other towns outside the area because, you know, dragons and so on. But did you know that Surrey has other connections with Lewis Carroll? So if you're really into Alice in Wonderland, Alice Through the Looking Glass and so on, or if you just fancy a day trip or something a little bit different to do elsewhere in our county, then why don't you take a train to Guildford? Because the author, Lewis Carroll, real name of course Charles Dodgson, spent much of his time in Guildford with his sisters. He actually preached at St Mary's Church, and there's memorabilia of Alice and Lewis Carroll at Guildford Museum. He lived for a while at the Chestnuts, which is now a private house near Guildford Museum. You can actually see it from the outside. You can't go in, obviously. There's an Alice Through the Looking Glass statue in the castle grounds. It's really well done. You've got Alice reaching through a looking glass. How do they do that? Well, look it up or go and visit it. And also there's a statue of Alice with her sister watching the rabbit go down the hole in Millmead. So that's by the river. It's just opposite what was Debenhams. Yeah, it's the other side of the river there. And Lewis Carroll himself is buried in the Mount Cemetery in Guildford. You can go on a Lewis Carroll walk with the Guildford Town Guides in the summer months as well.
This is the Planet Reigate podcast with Peter Stewart.
On the way, travel and weather together. And before we go at the end of the show, natural sounds from a place you know. We call it the 60-second Soundscape. This week from St John's Church in Redhill. You know it. You've seen the spire. You've driven past, and hopefully you've been inside as well. It's a Grade 2 listed building. It's a magnificent and significant landmark in Redhill and the surrounding area, isn't it? Now, they currently have a fundraising appeal on for a new roof after winter storms. The valley gutter between the south aisle and the main church roof has failed. There's quite a bit of damage that's been done to the fabric of the building, as well as water actually leaking into the church itself. Incidentally, you can see a terrific drone view of the church and the surrounding area on their website and on YouTube as well. Next week on the programme, musician Jamie is going to be my guest, and also volleyball players Wayne and Beth. They're all from the Planet Reigate area, because this is the Planet Reigate podcast. We cover RH1, 2 and 3, and the fine towns and villages of Reigate, Redhill and Merstham, Buckland, Betchworth and Brockham. Well, our travel news, we give you the heads up so you can avoid the hold-ups. Ongoing roadworks in Reigate, Dover's Green Road, Cockshott Hill and Price's Lane through until October. In Redhill, Earlswood Road until December, and in Salford's West Avenue until October. This week, Pebble Hill Road, Betchworth, is going to be closed for 3 days from Monday the 15th, 9:30 to 3:30. Yeah, it's going to be closed while they do some work to remove some trees from the highway verge. Drain clearance work is also going to be done during that closure as well. Nutfield Road is going to be closed. Well, certainly there's going to be some temporary traffic lights on April the 17th, 18th and 19th. It's all because of telecom work going on there. Hawley Road in Redhill, pavement resurfacing. So they're going to be replacing the curbs and edges and things like that. There's going to be two-way lights until Friday the 19th. Slipsatch Road in Reigate, two-way lights for the installation of Grasscrete. And what? Grasscrete. I thought that's what you said. Until the 3rd of May. What is Grasscrete? Well, I can tell you what Grasscrete is, and you actually do know. It's that concrete with those palm-sized hexagonal holes in that, you know, the grass grows through. So you've got the stability of the concrete, but also it looks rather better, and it's got better drainage as well. So it kind of looks better aesthetically than just an expanse of basic concrete, doesn't it? Yeah? Well, also, let's tell you where the cheapest petrol is locally. Last week, it was at Tesco or Hookwood. This week, Sainsbury's, Bonehurst Road. RH6 at 141.9 pence per litre. So that is the cheapest in the Planet Reigate area. Travel, weather and treasure together on the Planet Reigate podcast. Julie Beams will be here in a few moments' time with her pick of the bunch, pick of the bargains from the Children's Trust charity shop, Bell Street in Reigate. First of all, let's take a look at the weekend weather prospects. Saturday, starting cloudy, but becoming increasingly bright during the day, largely dry, mild and breezy. And Sunday will see a mixture of variable cloud and brighter spells, staying largely dry but turning cooler, showery rain moving in overnight into Monday and turning brighter and drier from the northwest during the day, so the best part of Monday, a little bit later on in the afternoon by the sound of it, and a more breezy and a cooler day across the Planet Reigate area.
Hidden treasure on the Planet Reigate podcast.
This week's hidden treasure is a really colourful piece of artwork. It is a print and it's still cellophane wrapped with a cream boarded or ivory mount, so ready to go into a frame of your choice. It's 40 centimetres wide and 34 centimetres high, so I think it'd probably adorn a wall, lovely in a hallway for example. There's so many vibrant colours in here, and when I turn it rounder it gives me a bit of an idea as to the reason why it's so colourful. The artist was Anna Jean, so A-N-A for Anna and J-U-A-N, so that might give away the fact that she was born in Valencia, Spain in 1961. Clearly had a really prolific art career, and at the time of this print being produced, it was a part of a selection of prints for the Rue Hotel chain. Now this actually was a gift presented when you visited all the way back in the year 2000, and this one came from a hotel in the wonderful country of Cuba. Now Cuba's known for being very vibrant with colours, dance, music, etc. Lots of really creative artists there. Street markets full of great artwork. Now this one is The Dance. It features couples dancing, a gentleman with a lovely Panama hat, keeping the sun off. I've been to Cuba, so I can account for that. Sporting a pair of maracas. So it's a real fun piece. It has lots of vibrant colours from pinks and greens and yellows, various shades of blue. It's a beautiful piece. So this is just waiting to be loved and hung. Is just £10, but it is actually a gift aided item, so the person that's donated this wonderful donor signed up to our retail gift aid scheme, so actually it will be worth £12.50 to the Children's Trust. So every penny, pound spent in our shops is to support children with brain injury. So come along and hurry and find this piece, and actually look up this wonderful artist Anna Jean. She's gone on to do so much more than, if you like, tourist pieces. She has exhibited in so many places, and you can buy a full range of her artwork. So hurry along to the Children's Trust on Bell Street, Reigate, and snap this item up.
This is the Planet Reigate podcast.
And that is about it for this week's programme. Next week, episode 32, we hear from Redhill musician Jamie, how he grew up in the area and went on to be a producer, his mentorship of local young people and his hopes for invigorating the music scene in his hometown. And it's a sport you don't hear much about, but volleyball really seems to be thriving in Surrey. Lots of local groups either based in schools or using schools for their training sessions. Well, I've been along to Donata School to see a session in progress and speak with Wayne and Beth, who are two of the coaches, and hear my conversations next week. And you know what? That also got me thinking about Donata's building. It's a grand old place, isn't it? So what is the history behind Donata's building? Who built it? What happened there? Well, turns out the owner was pretty famous back in the day, and there are several roads named after him in the area, but his life was not without sorrow. and scandal and controversy. I'll tell you the story next week in the Planet Reigate podcast. That and a whole host of other features and stories from places you love and people you know. But before we go, at the end of the show, it's our 60-second soundscape from a place you know.
The 60-second soundscape. Local natural sounds, uninterrupted.
And this week, inside St John's Church in Redhill.